You don't have to show up every day to be consistent. Hi, my name is Solane. We talk all things self-improvement, and today I will be revealing the reason behind your inconsistency and how to end it. I think the problem that causes a lot of inconsistency is the fact that people try to follow other people's versions of consistency. This gives you a skewed perception of what consistency is supposed to look like a linear line, but it's actually goes in waves, sort of like the wavelengths of light. In real life, it's quite hard to get a linear line of consistency. It's actually impossible to get a perfectly straight line in general. They don't exist. And it's important to note that I'm not saying that you cannot be aggressively consistent and be consistent every single day throughout your life. But if you are like me and you have a life and people in that life, this version of consistency is just not sustainable. But that does not mean to quit on consistency altogether. Consistency is about an average, and with that average comes a spectrum of where your consistency lies. Think of it as like a light spectrum of how, depending on where you are in the spectrum, you absorb a specific wavelength of light. I think the greatest example to explain this is an Instagram post that I found showing the different versions of what consistency can look like. So if you're lower on the spectrum, this most likely means that you do this task less often, while if you're higher on the spectrum, you do it more often. The number of times you do these tasks is your frequency, and you can fall in any part of this spectrum and still be consistent. But if you're looking to increase your average of consistency, it really depends on the frequency, how many times you are consistent. But how do we use this to be more consistent? There are three things that you need to know and have. If we know that consistency is about the average of how many times you do a task, being able to track your task is extremely important. And more importantly, we should be keeping those tasks within the sphere of ability. This is how long you've been doing the task for, and depending on how long you've done it, you can either increase or decrease the frequency. This is so we don't get burnt out and never do it again, because we need the task to be challenging enough where we're working, but not too challenging where we just completely give up. For example, if you were a beginner just starting at the gym, consistency for you does not have to look like a 2-hour workout 7 days a week. You can possibly start with a number that is lower, like 3 days a week. It may change depending on your sphere of ability or your goals, because you may have different goals than if you were an intermediate instead of a beginner. To track your frequency, a monitor of some sort is needed. A great tool for this is habit trackers. I've seen people use Notion, Notes app, or even just paper. If you have a goal, it will be a lot easier to know where you want to fall on the spectrum, so you're not putting in a lot of unnecessary effort into things that could have been reduced. I like this method of consistency a lot better just because it's flexible and it's more customizable for you and your life, so you're not trying to follow somebody else's versions of consistency but your own. Consistency is a fundamental part of reaching one's goals, but if you're not completely clear on your goals, consistency can be extremely difficult. So if you want to learn how to make clear and actionable goals, watch this video next. And remember, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.